In this game, winners win, and I only back winners. Trainer Kenny McPeak is a proven winner, and his horses are in my portfolio. And now they can be in yours too. McPeak's champion horses and Derby hopefuls are now featured on Morning Line. With Morning Line, I don't just watch the race. I own the moment. I invest in champions. This is my edge. Buy, sell, trade, anytime. Morning Line. Own the game.
Hey everyone, Ashley May, Nicole, Russo here with a special stakes preview for Saturday at the fairgrounds. They have a slew of graded stakes on tap. We're going to focus in on the 3-year-old fillies in the grade 2 Rachel Alexandra. It'll be race 11 on the 12 race program. But before we dive into that field, just a couple of words here. One from our sponsor, morningline.io. Old school ownership locks you in with fees, markups, and no exit. Morning Line offers a modern alternative, licensed access to elite racehorses with flexibility to buy, sell, or trade at any time. No ongoing costs, only on morningline.io. So thank you there from our sponsor. And also just one other thing to mention here, DRF store a sale going on. We know that this coming weekend is a long 3-day weekend. There's a President's Day sale for 15% off. You can use the coupon code PRES26. You can get a nice little discount there on all sorts of handicapping products. But really excited, Nicole, to dive into this race for the 3-year-old fillies with those Kentucky Oaks points on the line. We mentioned it. It's race number 11 on Saturday at the fairgrounds. A mile and a 16th, and it's a field of 8, but I felt like, at least on paper, there are 3 or 4 fillies that really are intriguing, and maybe some of them are still kind of proving themselves, but could take a step forward.
Absolutely. And this is the time where we're looking for those fillies to start to move forward. The Rachel Alexandra, kind of at the midway point of this year, coming towards the Kentucky Oaks, has really been a key prep. 2 of the last 3 years, the Oaks winner has won this race. Pretty Mischievous in 2023 and Good Cheer last year. And we'll see Pretty Mischievous's half-sister, Ballerina, as a key contender in this race that has also been won by Oaks winners Summerly, Untappable, Monomoy Girls, Serengeti Empress. It's really been a strong race in the last 10 or 20 years.
We'll take a look at the Timeform US pace projector here for this race. And I sort of agreed with this, Nicole, in terms of on paper, there wasn't a ton of pace necessarily signed on. And I think when you look at horses that have been more forward, say in their last race, it really did come down to the 3 highlighted here: Ballerina, Luv Your Neighbor, and Majestical. And I just think naturally it does appear that Ballerina is faster than the other 2.
Yeah, and she's shown tactical ability. She can sit right off the pace, as we saw in her most recent start, or as you said, with a lack of really strong pace in this race, she could take the initiative and be up there. I think it's really hers to dictate. We'll see what some of the others do. You see Luv Your Neighbor, the 6 there. She is adding blinkers for this race, so I'm curious to see if she's one of the ones who takes initiative. And if so, Ballerina, if she can work her way around outside of her and lay right off, I think could work out a very nice trip.
Let's dive right into it here with the number 1, Just Singing. Now we see her there on the Timeform pace projector towards the back of the pack, but I don't know. I feel like she's very interesting, Nicole, in the fact that you look at each of her races. I do think she's taken, steps of improvement. 2 starts back, she was able to break her maiden at Churchill on that first kind of weekend there when they returned to racing. And then more recently, hasn't been that recent, but we did see her at the end of November in the grade 2 Goldenrod, and she rolled from off of it. She did get the pace help that she needed to sort of do that, but she only missed by a length behind Ballerina, and have to think she's going to be a way better price come Saturday.
Yeah, and some very likable efforts, as you said, kind of moving forward each race. She did get the pace set up in the Goldenrod, but I do think she showed in her maiden win that she's not super pace dependent. On a fast track, they were the opening half in only 49-3, and in that maiden win, she did defeat Dancing in Oldtown, who she'll see here, and Search Party was 3rd, who just came back to be a stakes winner last weekend on the road to the Oaks. So some really very likable efforts from this filly.
We will move on to the next horse here in the field, who it's a little bit of a bigger price, I have a feeling, once we'll see the morning line. That's Classic Glide. She graduated 2 starts back. It was at Keeneland, going a mile and a 16th, and she wasn't that far off of a sort of slow pace, in my opinion, especially when you see the 1/2 and 3/4. But more recently, she was second behind Scott's Law there in that first level allowance. I thought it was a fine effort, but from a figures standpoint, she probably needs to do a lot better.
Well, the question I have with this filly is, as you mentioned, the figures, but then from a fitness standpoint, a lot of these fillies are making their first start at age 3 as she is, but the difference here is she's coming down from Oaklawn, where the training was interrupted for several weeks because of the winter weather that has impacted a lot of tracks, whereas some of these fillies have been training right here at Fairgrounds or are coming in from Florida. So looking at her, you see an interruption on the work tab, and I question if that is going to put her even more up against it.
I would agree with you. We'll see what she ends up being in terms of a price. The 3 Bella Ballerina, arguably going to be one of the favorites in here. Very impressive. I mean, she's 2 for 2 in her career. She was able to debut at Keeneland, going the 6 furlong distance, and then come back just under 2 months later in the Goldenrod and win. And she was even more forward, I thought, in terms of where she was placed in that field, Nicole. And another one, she took a big step forward. I have a feeling a lot of people are going to probably pick her as their top selection here.
Absolutely. And I mean, a half sister to a Kentucky Oaks winner, as we mentioned, and she transitioned from her sprint debut to tongue twister, transitioned to 2 turns as expected, and showed that tactical versatility that we talked about. I think she's a more forward and more mature filly than her sister was at this age. Remember, Pretty Mischievous added blinkers for the Kentucky Oaks and, delivered her best effort to date at that point. Bella Ballerina is by a different stallion in Street Sense, and that is interesting to me here because there is a chance of rain on Saturday, early out, so we'll see how the forecast develops. But Street Sense, a very good wet track sire if she needs that ability in her hand.
Completely agree. And I think, too, we'll kind of look at some of these horses. They're coming in from all over the place. He has some horses that were to Oaklawn. There were some at, say, Palm Meadows. She's one that has been based at the Fairgrounds, as you can see with her workout pattern. So that might give her another thing to kind of working for her with all the crazy weather that we've had recently. So she'll be a short price come Saturday. The number 4, Dancing in Oldtown. She's a maiden. She's 0 for 3 in her career. She finished 3rd on her debut, going 7/8 at Churchill. And then in her following start, she was just second best behind Just Singing, who she has to face again. I feel like in terms of her most recent effort, obviously it was off the board. Her number was better in there. She didn't get the pace setup that she needed, Nicole, in terms of how slow they went to the half, and she was trying to roll from last. I mean, I want to say that I want to give her somewhat of a pass, but it's going to be a tough task to graduate in this race.
A tough task, yeah, but if you're a tough task to graduate, but I think if you're looking for horses to use underneath, there are some points to like about her. She is a maiden. She did finish 5th of 6 in the Silver Bullet Day, but she was only beaten 2 lengths while improving her career best buyer, as you said. And with that race under her belt, she does have a recency edge on some of these who, as we mentioned, a bunch making their 3-year-old debuts here.
Move to the number 5 in here. This is Powered by Family. She's a little intriguing, especially when you look at her pedigree. She's by Quality Road. The Mare Icon project was very successful. I believe a grade 1 winner. Her debut, I felt like, was really handy, certainly a growing experience where things didn't go her way. She had to roll from off of it, and she was able to do so. And then similarly, she rolled from off of it last time out, and the number does stand out. It's an 84, but I think it's even more impressive knowing that it was over a muddy track. A race that was originally carted for the turf, you can see, stayed pretty well together with a field of 10 runners. I think in terms of what she's shown, she's really intriguing, just a horse that you feel like she could get better even with added distance going forward.
Absolutely. You look at Quality Road over Icon Project, who, a grade 1 winning router at Saratoga, certainly should handle the distance, has shown she can handle a wet track. Again, if that comes up in the forecast on Saturday, took a big step forward, first to second start, improving that figure. She has gotten off slow her first couple of starts, and the thing with her is you're going to be looking to see if she does come out of the gate better, particularly with what we talked about, kind of a lack of committed front runners in this race. She doesn't want to be left wanting in that run into the first turn, I think.
Then the number 6 in here, Luv Your Neighbor. She comes in here off a second place performance in the Silver Bullet Day, and she's going to wear blinkers for the first time. I feel like her last 2 efforts, they've been good. I know last time you kind of look at it, and Taken by the Wind gets the best of her in the end, and they did kind of go slow in that race, and she was part of that pace all the way around the track. I don't want to be hard on her. I think the equipment change is interesting, Nicole, but kind of looking at the untappable, I don't know how to carry that race going forward now, knowing that Hit Parade didn't fare so well in the Martha Washington. She was just 5th best.
Yeah, Luv Your Neighbor is the most seasoned member of this field. She's a head and a neck away from winning 2 stakes at Fairgrounds. The blinkers on, I'm wondering if we can see more focus from her down the lane, see if she can finish up, because she's knocked on the door a little bit there. And I expect, looking at those stakes performances, she's going to be another one that people gravitate to in the wagering as well.
Yeah, and the barn does very, very well with first-time blinkers. You can see 28% there if you're looking at your daily racing form. The number 7, Majestical. This one out of the Peter Urton barn. She was second on her debut, going 7/8. They stretched her out around 2 turns most recently, and they did that right at the Fairgrounds, which I do like. She dominated that group. She won by 4.5. I honestly don't have anything to knock on her. This is kind of, I guess, a logical next spot for her, especially considering that she's at the Fairgrounds.
Yeah, a troubled trip in her debut around 1 turn, and then improved and got, a pace pressing trip after being left well back, in her first start, has drawn nicely in this field to work out a similar trip.
And then we'll round it out here with the number 8. Probably going to butcher the name here, but Agrippina, who was 9th on the debut. That was on the grass at Kentucky Downs, which I'm just going to draw a complete line through. But the performance that we're going to show most recently was her second career start. This was down at Oaklawn Park back in the middle of December. And she faced a big group with that purse money on the line. The maiden special weight ranks a field of 12. And I thought once she kicks clear in here, it is visually quite impressive. Nice to see this from her first start on the dirt. But she has a lot coming her way. We talked about a couple of others, Nicole. They're going to maybe try stakes competition for the first time. She has to try 2 turns.
Yeah, and looking at her pedigree to start, I think there's a mix of things in here. She is by the Tappet horse Tacitus, a long-winded, grinding sort of runner who has shown that his runners can get 2 turns. He has Southwest winner Silent Tactic in his first crop. But then on the other side of the page, her dam is a half sister to a couple of stakes place sprinters. Her only other runner to date has gotten both his wins sprinting. So kind of pedigree questions as to whether Agrippina can go 2 turns. And, she came from off the pace last time, and you question if she's going to get the same kind of pace setup going 2 turns. I don't think they're going to be going the first quarter in 21 and change in this race.
No, I don't think so either. And I think with her outside draw and the fact that she's stretching out, maybe we'll see her a little bit closer. And then factoring in as well, Paco Lopez climbing aboard makes me think that she could be mid-pack or even a tad closer to the pace early on. So that's the field of 8 for the grade 2 Rachel Alexandra Stakes. Kentucky Oaks points on the line. This is where that sort of gets boosted in terms of the points. Things get exciting, Nicole. And in terms of this field of 8, who has you most intrigued?
Well, Ballerina, first of all, she's intrigued me all along in this group of, current 3-year-old fillies, being the half to an Oaks winner. And I just think she's the class of the race at this point. Some other fillies in here who are still developing. Some I feel like will be circling out of the race going forward to other preps and to the Oaks. But I do think Ballerina at this point is just a little more forward than them. I think we use the same horses underneath. I think it's just kind of how you play them. I do like a little bit Just Singing to work out a nice trip with Johnny Velasquez. As I said, she's faced some nice horses, and I think she showed in her maiden win that she's not super pace dependent, which is a question for some of them in this field.
Yeah, absolutely. So same top 4, different order. I'd have to say Just Singing 2 out of these 4 that we look at should be the best price out of that bunch. So Ballerina for both Nicole and I, but she'll go 3-1-6-5. I'll go 3-5-6-1. It's race 11 Saturday at the Fairgrounds. I mentioned it. It's a lot of racing action, a lot of graded stakes, 12 races in total. And that first post at 1 Eastern. We wish you the best of luck.